If you're looking for something a little bit smaller in the way of a hauler, stay tuned. This one's only 24 feet, and I think you might like it. Hello and welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV getting you some updated footage on the 18RR Little Gray Wolf toy hauler. This is their smallest tandem axle model with a ramp, patio, party package, ramper, camper, crossover kind of door thing in the back. Because the thing is, it's got an open garage where you can put stuff. It's got a ramp door in the back. It's technically a toy hauler. But this has always felt to me a little bit more like just a solo or couples camper that just happens to have a rear patio, and you just happen to be able to load things like motorcycles and kayaks and e-bikes and dog kennels and four-wheelers and all kinds of stuff inside this thing. Now, it's not a big full-body mega toy hauler like a Wolfpack or Momentum or a Valor or something like that. It's conventionally sized. It's 6.5 foot tall inside. It's 8 foot wide. It's a standard body RV that just happens to have this cool ramp door in the back. But there's a lot of people who are looking for something smaller, simpler, easier, lighter, less expensive, no slides, who would love to have the ability to expand their living space when they get to a destination, and that's kind of what this one allows for right here. It does have a roll-down tent screen wall on the back, so if you want to keep Mother Nature from bugging you, as it were, pun heavily intended right there, you have the opportunity. Now, this new generation, they've done things like improve the solar package. There's some changes to some of the tech packages that are going on here. Some things have progressed forward, and I think some people will say some things have gone backward, but I think what they're doing here is they've made smart decisions where they've enhanced certain features and they've scaled back on other ones so that the pricing of these doesn't get out of control, and things that they're not doing generally I think are pretty easy to work around. It's got good qualities. It's got things you might not like the front corner Camp Queen bed. I could see that being the biggest deal breaker for a lot of folks, but giving you fair, good information like that to help you buy your second camper the first time is what I want to do. So hit that subscribe button if you appreciate it, like our video, and let's get inside there and see what she has to offer. Now, just to help you get your bearings, basically, if you walked into the RV, if you were going to go check one out at a dealership or something like that, and you walked in the door and looked left, that's kind of what you would have began with. And just to help you sort of, again, complete the getting your bearings thing, we're taking a look over here at the campsite of the RV. Now, the entry door is prepped for a privacy shade. The rest of the windows will have privacy shades, and one of the more interesting updates, because again, this has been a push-pull update year for the Gray Wolf family of campers, is they've gone away from those, some people say migraine-inducing zebra blinds, and gone to just a pleated shade, and we'll get a look at those in a few minutes. Again, being a push-pull year, they've moved away from that Smart Connect kind of command system, and they've gone to just tried and true physical switch panel. Now, in case you're curious, the camera on the back that we're going to see is still Bluetooth. Like, that camera hasn't changed. Just the command system overall has updated. And that set of power outlets right there, isn't it? What would you use that for? Like a standing fan, maybe? I don't know. But when you sit down here, one of the cool things about this RV is just the awesome campsite window coverage on it. You get to look at your campsite instead of the neighbors. The irony is that it makes it harder, maybe, to keep the RV cool. But to help offset that, these are standard with a 15,000 BTU air conditioner, which is, well, kind of cool. Down below, you see that boxy thing? You're like, why is that there? Well, that's the wheel well. And it is reinforced to be drivable, so if you are trying to load something a little bit wider in here, it is the kind of camper where you can, make that happen. Because, again, you see the D-ring tie-downs recessed into that 5/8 tongue-and-groove plywood floor deck. You can load pretty much, actually, there's D-ring tie-downs all the way up to the bed. Now, that also creates interesting opportunities, but yet a problem for me, because there's so many different measurements and dimensions that are possible on this RV. I don't know which specifically you might need. So my recommendation is if you're like, well, can my such and such four-wheeler or whatever fit in here? Get the measurements on your four-wheeler. Call our team. They can come out and hand measure this RV to make sure that it's going to fit your thing, because I don't want to just turn the whole video into me reading a specs chart, basically. This is another interesting update. We've gained a air fryer microwave oven. I'll get you a look inside that in a little bit. But we have also lost a sink cover. And when they did that, by moving away from the traditional oven, they added like a third more overhead cabinet space here. So once again, everything has been a give and a get. It's just a matter of which things you're looking to get, I suppose. And seeing if this RV is the one that gives you the right ones. I don't know. I felt like maybe I could do some cool wordplay there, and I think I failed. Now, walking back here, this is one of the cool things. Like, you can obviously close the ramp door, and I'll get you a look at these little tent screen wall things. So, like, if you want to just keep the bugs out, you can do that. It is amazing, though, how many RVs with ramp doors still have zero things to kind of enclose the back patio space. And you might be noticing that these are a little wonky right here. It's because I haven't done a full setup on the ramp. I've just done a quick setup, so everything is not quite, like, in place the way it's supposed to be. So, that's not a reflection of the camper. That's just a reflection of me moving quickly, trying to get as much footage as I can. Now, the RV thankfully still includes this free floating table right here, and it can be used inside as some dinofa time. You could take it outdoor for picnic. I love it sitting like this for almost like if you want to bring some chairs outside, you can have like a little campsite patio bar kind of function. Actually, speaking of that, there's absolutely nothing that says you couldn't take that table and instead of putting it in front of the sofa, which can make walking through here a little tight. I'll see if I can't get you a look at that in a minute. But put it under that the window closer to the entry door, and that could very easily work as a I'm sorry, I'm thinking on the fly here, and I kind of forgot that wheel well was there. I don't know. I guess you'll have to figure out how it works best for you. I might have spoken a little early and a little out of turn. Now, they've also changed up this little bench right here, and I think it's based on a little bit of viewer feedback, and at first glance it looks the same. When I first started manipulating it, I'm not sure I was a fan, but I kind of sort of came around on the topic a little bit. Anyway, first of all, though, I mentioned how these big campsite windows, which have that reflective mirror tint, that's why everything looks a little bit yellowed through them. It's going to keep a little more of that light out. But they've gone to a more traditional kind of pleated shade there. And again, we do have that dinofa table that you can slide around. If you need just a bonus sleeper, that can fold down, but the whole bench can either fold up and secure against the wall, or it slots in place. You can literally just remove the bench entirely from the RV. So if you wanted to change this RV around, if you're like, I don't care about that bench, or if you're like, I want something else right there, like I want a table and chairs, you want to bring in your own furniture, your own theater seat and or recliners or something, you could absolutely do things like that on this RV that you never had the opportunity to do easily before. You had to unscrew stuff from walls, and you don't have to do that. And if later on you decide you do need that bench, like maybe one trip you need it and one trip you don't, you can always bring it with you. And if you like need maximum loading width to totally like you need every single inch of horizontal width possible you can to load stuff into this sucker, you could like just put that bench up on the front bed in transit, and then you could just slot it back in place when you get to your destination. So it can mean a little bit of physical wrestling, but I will tell you this. I have chicken arms, and ladies and gentlemen, if I can do it, I feel very confidently a lot of people who would be physically capable of just owning and maintaining this RV in general would find this one well within their physical capacity to manipulate. Now, that was a 10 plus cubic foot 12 volt DC compressor fridge, by the way. This is probably going to be the single biggest, like, people are going to go, oh, I loved it until then kind of thing. It is a corner camp queen, because again, they were trying to keep the RV shorter and lighter. They were trying to keep the cargo carrying capacity maximized, and this is just what we got here. Not a whole lot going on really necessarily around the corner, although you might notice that big black brick thing right there, and I don't know a specific name for it. People have been asking me that in the comments, like, what's the name, what's the part number? I don't know. By the way, people ask that question all the time, what's the part number? Well, there's like a bunch of different suppliers in the RV industry. There's typically not just one part number for individual components in the industry, so that's kind of a bit of a tricky question. Now, one of the things that we haven't really seen a lot of so far are TV hookups. In this floor plan, they're actually located up here in front of, well, I guess straight across from the headboard area of the bed. You see a little sticker on the wall, the hookup's up top. I don't know that this is a floor plan that is really TV focused, like, because frankly, that location is not excellent. If you put like a heavy-duty swing arm in there or something like that, and you wanted to bring a couple folding chairs on a rainy day and turn the TV, I suppose you could make it work. But TV accommodations in this RV are certainly a bit of a secondary thought. For instance, in your living room, quote unquote, this is where it's located. It's not a great spot for it, obviously. But this is a floor plan that doesn't really focus on entertainment. I will say, if you like something smaller like this, but you do want a more entertainment focus, take a look at the Salem Wildwood 190 RT. That one actually can get the job done for you, maybe a little bit better. Now, looking over here, you see how there's actually storage down inside that hanging wardrobe closet, which is kind of neat. Very handy for like loose stuff. In a way, it can actually act a little bit like a dresser drawer, which I think is interesting. You know, it's a bit of a workaround, and I also really commend them for the fact that a lot of times in an over-the-bed application like this, manufacturers will do a flip-up cabinet door, but the problem is they don't put any sort of struts on it. So they made the doors swing open, which made a lot more sense to me. Now, down over here, I will tell you, this bathroom is also very, very tight. With the RV only being 8 foot wide and this being a hallway style bathroom, there's not amazing room, elbow room around that sucker. It is kind of nice that they give us just a shower instead of like a travel trailer tub, so that's a little bit easier getting in and out. The flip side here is this RV is only 6.5 foot tall inside. And you can see even with, I pop my hat off. I'm wearing just kind of, I actually wear some pretty thick-soled shoes, very supportive kind of shoes, but I'm a little over 6 foot tall. My head's way up in that skylight. There's just really kind of no way around that. Over here in the bathroom, though, they've also gone away from the motion-activated lighting, and below the tankless on-demand water heater controller, there's just a light switch. I think that's fine. Personally, again, I think that works. I don't need digital smart stuff. I just need a camper that works. This wall's begging for towel bars or hooks or something. I wish it had some. But again, I will really commend them on going with the sticking with the bigger XL vent fan. That costs a couple bucks more than the conventional 4-inch fart fan, but I think 10 out of 10 people would rather have that big fan. Leave me a little like on the video or something if you agree the big fan's the way to go. Now, one of the really cool things when you get into a smaller RV like this, because this is, again, basically where their tandem axle ramp models start, they're still using the same bigger axles that you might find on some of their other bigger models. So as a result, what that means is that this camper is smaller and lighter, but actually still carries a pretty good cargo carrying capacity, and even fully loaded through, general modest terrain. I think that a lot of people will find this one within the realm of half-ton towing capability, but every truck-trailer kind of combo should always be examined individually. Now, if we look way at the top of the RV, up top there, you see that little antenna sticking out. I did that to make it a little more obvious on the left. That is your Bluetooth backup camera that is factory standard on these. You also have a kind of like a flood loading light down there so that you can, whether it's, the cool thing about that, it's called a flood loading light, so you can load the RV. But if you're just sitting back here for patio time, it can also kind of shed some light on the situation. Now, giving you a look at a couple things, first of all, you see, again, you do have that roll-down tent screen wall feature. Additionally, when that door closes, I thought you'd just like to get a quick look at that sucker. Not to mention the fact that you get to see that it does have that positive cam lock system to keep the doors a little more secure. Because the cool thing with those is that they're going to use your trailer's key locks. And as a result, it just feels a little bit more secure. And it's the kind of thing that, if you had just normal latches that could be, padlocked, people can often cut padlocks unless you spend serious money on padlocks that are a lot harder to cut, basically. So it's kind of a nice thing. I wanted to slide out of the way because we had some folks rolling through here, and I didn't feel like going squish on this thing by any stretch of the imagination. So weaving our way back around here, the campsite window coverage on this, once again, is fantastic. The awning feels like maybe it could have been a little bit bigger, but if you look, if they try to extend the awning forward, it would hit the baggage door. If they try to extend the awning backward, it would conflict with like the marker light. So they did put the biggest awning on it that they possibly could have. Up top, you do have a factory standard 15,000 BTU air conditioner, helping keep things a little bit cooler on the hot, sunny summer days. This year, I mentioned how they added some things, they subtracted some things. This was more of a push-pull year. They didn't just tack stuff on and add a bunch of money to the price tag. This year, they did enhance this by adding standard tank heaters. Now, that doesn't magically make this some, like, crazy Arctic Four Seasons camper. what it does is it gives you a little more peace of mind, a little more protection. If the weather's going to drop below freezing today, but it's going to kind of, you know, bounce back later, like, you know, like if it's going to drop below freezing overnight and then it's going to bounce back above freezing in the morning, this should be a camper that will generally be okay. Here's the trick though. I can't give you specific temperature ratings on exactly what this RV is rated for because the manufacturer has not actually done testing on that, so I don't know. Now, all of the RR, the rear ramp models, are now factory standard with their adventure package, and that's where those kind of, you know, more aggressive tread pattern kind of tires are there. It actually has raised the RV up a little bit. It's giving you a little bit better clearance, and it's also giving you a little bit of that diamond plate skirting right along the base of it. Now you saw how it had the, you know, gas grill quick connect. You can barely see peeking up just over the top of this right now the now 100 watt factory solar package that is standard on these. Previously was a 50. Now don't get me wrong, like I could sit here and go, wow, they have doubled their factory solar, and that is technically mathematically true, but it's not like 100 watts is the be all end all. It's a battery tender. The thing is, they've also enhanced their charge controller, so if you want to daisy chain and plug and play some additional panels onto this thing, you can go up to about 300-400 watts of solar. Not from the factory, but that's something that you could add to this without really needing to get into changing out hardware. So there is some expansion capacity there that was not present before. Thankfully, this is a single-headed sewer monster. You've only got one sewer outlet. Even though the kitchen's behind the axles, they did manage to kind of plumb everything together. On the left is our tankless on-demand water heater. So if you got a couple people back-to-back, nobody has to deal with the chilly willy showers. Black tank flush. Outside utility shower, hot and cold. Those are boring things to talk about, but they're really super useful things to people. And then there's just the little things like they have this little courtesy light here. In years past, this light switch was hard coded to the awning light switch, but thankfully, oh, I don't have the power on. Dang it, I was really wanting to shed some light on the situation. But basically what I'm getting at is it now has its own outside switch so that when you do need to start, you know, seeing what you're doing outdoors, you more easily can. Now, as long as we're over here, I know it's kind of tight quarters, so pardon me. Right above that window, you see a stovetop vent exhaust hood, so that if you are cooking inside, you don't have to open the ramp door to exhaust all the heat. And then you've got that black bracket up top. That is your little prep mount for the telescopic removable ladder. These have had a walkable roof, basically always. But most of the time, they haven't had any sort of factory ladder installed or available. There was a period where you could actually option a ladder onto the back of these, and then they stopped doing that. And now they have that mount always on there. So if you do want to bring a telescopic ladder that isn't included, I really would prefer it to be included, but it's not. You can get up to the roof to do your seasonal maintenance, upkeep, all those kind of things. But at least they're giving us some type of opportunity to get up there now, which they just flat didn't before, so better than nothing, I guess. I don't know, what's your preference? Which way should they go with that? Now, if you're looking for something a little bit smaller and you can handle a single axle, take a look at the 18 RJB Wolf Pup. That one will do the trick for you. Or if you want an alternative to this, what I'll do, actually, instead of just giving you alphabet soup and listing a bunch of model numbers, I will leave you links in the video description where you can check for pricing and availability on this model, and then see videos on the other similar things that I've done, like Salem Wildwood, FSX Division, does a very close counterpart to this. I think theirs is called the 190 RT or something like that. But again, different builders have a different take on things, and they all have a little bit different focus. And that's one of the nice things I like about carrying so many different RVs, is we can help you zero in on the one that nails more of the features that you're looking for and less of the features that you don't. And if you're like me, I always wish I could take part A and part B from two different trailers and make trailer C, but unfortunately that's just not always an opportunity. Until next time, thanks again for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.